Hi everyone, welcome back to Panzer MTG. My name is Dennis,
I'm Jake.
and today we're going to be talking about our top 5 Aetherdrift Commanders. Starting off, we have Redshift, Rocketeer Chief, a small goblin dude, but he has awesome abilities. So let's read the card, Jake.
Only 2 mana. This Goblin Pilot has Vigilance and a tap ability that says, add X mana of any one color where X is Redshift's power. Spend this mana only to activate activated abilities. And it has an Exhaust. For 10, a red and a green. Put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield.
Really explosive.
Definitely is very explosive.
So the exhaust mechanic, how does it work?
It's basically 1 per game that you can use this.
Okay.
Every time that you play the card, so from the command zone or from the graveyard or whatever, it's a new instance of the card.
Yeah.
Which means that you can use the exhaust ability
Again
and again every time that you cast your commander.
Awesome. So like if you can blink him or can make him go to the command zone, bring him back, you can use the exhaust ability again.
Exactly.
Bypassing the restriction.
So Dennis, Redshift, why did we pick this one?
Well, first up, he's a 2-drop, which is always really good for a commander. Comes down early and you can generate value really early in the game. Obviously, he scales really well with activated abilities. If you can buff his power, he grants a lot of mana to activate other abilities. Or his own ability. If you can get him to 12 power, you can just activate his own ability and put all the permanent cards in your hand straight into play. Which is insane because he's in Gruul and
Gruul.
Yeah.
Big creatures, big damage.
Yeah.
It is definitely the Gruul playstyle.
Big threats. So Jake, Redshift, how would you build him?
In my opinion, there's 2 options that you can actually build him. Either you go the activated ability way, where you activate himself and the creatures you put in there.
You can also just build around exactly what Gruul does best, buffing creatures, increasing his power, and having a lot of mana for activated abilities.
Now that we know how we're building the commander, can you give us a few examples of good cards that would synergize well with Redshift?
Sure. My first card that comes to mind is Agatha. Obviously the original, the OG activated abilities commander. All activated abilities cost less equal to Agatha's power. She also has an awesome ability that gives trample and increases the power of all creatures you control, including Redshift, and you can utilize Redshift to pay for her ability. They're like a match made in heaven.
So when we were researching this deck, you mentioned something about that you found a card that you can untap Redshift with.
Classic card, yeah. Amazing, I know we broke Umbral Mantle, it's not a hard thing to do. Umbral Mantle is a card that has an untap ability. For 3 mana, you can untap Redshift and give him +2/+2.
That's strong in itself.
Exactly. And Redshift's ability doesn't say you can only use his mana he generates for creatures. You can also use it for artifacts.
Oh.
So together with Umbral Mantle, this actually means when you get Redshift to 3 power, you can just keep tapping and untapping him, paying for the ability of Umbral Mantle by tapping him. Yeah.
Does it mean infinite?
Yeah, he has infinite power, infinite toughness, and he also generates infinite mana for activated abilities.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, especially with his exhaust ability to put all permanents into play. So yeah, it's a crazy combination. It's a match made in heaven once again.
The Staff of Domination is one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, this combo is even worse in my opinion. It's stronger. Staff of Domination does a lot of stuff. You can gain life, you can untap creatures, you can tap creatures, you can untap the staff itself. As mentioned before, you can use the mana Redshift generates to pay for the abilities of Staff of Domination. If you get Redshift to 5 power, enabling him to generate 5 mana, you can actually use 3 mana to untap Redshift, 1 mana to untap the Staff of Domination, and keep tapping and untapping again. And you will always net 1 mana in the process.
So that means
yeah,
infinite again.
Yeah, so with infinite mana for activated abilities, Staff of Domination does another thing. You can also tap it to draw a card. With infinite mana to activate its ability and untap it again, you can just draw your entire deck, then utilize Redshift's ability, and yeah.
Exhaust.
Yeah, you know what happens. You put your entire deck into play at once.
You just end the game.
Yeah, you just need the staff and Redshift at 5 power. Not hard requirements to meet.
But hard to stop.
Really hard to stop, yeah. We're talking about ways to buff Redshift's power. Do you know any cards that do it, like Giant Growth cards or something?
Invigorate on the top of my head.
Oh, yeah. It's actually a free spell to buff his power.
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
Okay, cool. Another card that's been broken many times in Magic before is Aggravated Assault. It's especially broken in Redshift, since when you can get Redshift to 6 power, making him generate 6 mana, you can just keep activating Aggravating Assault, untapping him, activating Aggravating Assault, untapping him, getting a ton of mana for activated abilities.
So,
yeah, infinite once again.
Infinite.
Infinite mana for activated abilities, which doesn't win you the game outright, but you also get infinite combat phases.
It sounds like a win.
Yeah, it's infinite combat phases, so you can usually win from there, right?
5 cards, that we suggest you put in.
Yeah, for sure.
You do you, but these are very strong cards. I think the word infinite was used
Many
5 times.
Yeah.
Is there a special art for the Redshift Boyo?
There are 3 versions. So we have the standard version with the classic border. We have the full art version, which is my favorite, honestly.
It does look amazing.
Yeah. We also have the finish line variant. Have you seen them?
Are those the golden ones?
Golden, yellow, yeah, I'm not sure. When you see it on a picture, it just looks yellow, but I saw some videos of them, and they're actually like a golden foil when you open them. So I think they look pretty sick. So let us know in the comments if you like the finish line variants.
If I put one in my deck, I will put all the ones that have a variant that is gold into my deck.
But a lot of people are torn in the community because on a digital picture, it just seems yellow, but
yeah,
on a video, they look really good, honestly. Yeah, we'll see when we open Aetherdrift.
Wizards put them on their Instagram. So
yeah, so you can go check
it out there.
Okay, before we go to the next commander, which is your favorite, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, because we'll be doing a deck video on all 5 of the commanders we're going to be talking about today.
So if you are interested in our deck decks, make sure to like and subscribe, and even comment which one you actually want to see.
Yeah,
that
which one is your favorite, or a commander we did not even put in the top 5.
Because there's more than 5 in this.
Aetherdrift is a really good set, a really high power.
It is amazing.
Next commander is your favorite of the 5.
It is, because I actually want to build it in a way that you wouldn't build it. And it is the Mendicant Core Guidelight.
Yeah, the awesome little robot boyo.
For just 2 mana. Again.
Yeah. I will just read the cards. So, we have a legendary artifact creature robot. Costs 2 mana, Azorius, and his power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. Really solid.
Very important as well for my strategy.
Yeah. He also has a new start your engines mechanic. We'll go more in depth later. And whenever you are at max speed, whenever you cast an artifact spell, you can pay 1 colorless mana to copy it. Absolutely ridiculous.
Pretty bonkers.
So why is it good?
First of all, 2 mana. So you can get it out pretty early. That being said, the 3 toughness gives it an edge on commanders that only have 2, because it stays a little bit more out of range of being able to remove with damage. Or
it doesn't die to Pyroclasm, for example.
But also, the start your engines mechanic is something really unique, but also pretty strong. If you can get to your max speed pretty fast, you get your extra ability that you can copy for just 1 mana any artifact that you put into play.
Yeah, the max speed ability is really crazy, honestly. You can copy your 10/10 artifacts, you can copy your value engines. There are probably some combos out there with this ability.
For sure. So, start your engines mechanic. We debated it a bit. Do we like it? Do we not like it? What's your take on it?
I'm actually not sure yet. I think most people in the community are not sure how it will work, because some people say it's too fast, it's really strong. Some people say, yeah, it's so slow, it will never see play competitively. How it actually works is when you play a card that says start your engines, you start your engines, obviously. And you start yeah, that's you will be doing that in games. You start at 1 speed. Whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, you get to increase your speed by 1.
And the max speed is 4.
Exactly. And many cards have abilities that actually only work when you're at max speed. So for Mendicant, this means if you play him on turn 2, you can start your engines on turn 2. If you're able to do...
And you instantly get 1.
Yeah, you instantly get to 1. If you're able to deal 1 damage on turn 2, you get to 2 speed. On turn 3, you get to 3 speed. On turn 4 is the earliest turn you can get to 4 speed.
If you play Mendicant, the first one that starts your engines.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can get a 1-drop that can start your engines, you can get there earlier.
And there are some lands in Aetherdrift that actually start your engines. So.
I think there's 3.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm not really sure, but yeah. Start your engines. I think it's a cool mechanic. Not sure if it's fast enough, but we'll have to see.
I think if you build around it,
it
could be strong.
It does promote dealing damage to opponents, so it does promote fair combat, which I like.
And faster games.
And faster games, exactly. You talked about you have a way to build him. Well, what way will you build him?
I'm gonna build a Voltron commander around this.
Okay, I can see why.
Just the fact that the power increases with each artifact that you play makes it so you can easily buff him as a Voltron commander with artifacts, and he goes sky high.
Yeah, because equipment is also an artifact, so you can just equip him, power scales up, and he's also in blue, so it's really easy to make him unblockable.
And you can protect him pretty easily in blue.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I'd probably build him a more mid-range way, kind of the way you would build an Urza deck. Just good stuff, artifacts, mana rocks, and just try to get him to max speed as soon as possible, and just generate a ton of value with the max speed ability.
More to go wide.
Yeah, mid-range, go wide, the late game strategy. The only thing I think he misses, in my opinion, is a 3rd color. I think he's weaker because he's only an Azorius.
True, but if you add a 3rd color, he goes to 3 mana.
That's true. Okay, fair.
So we talked about the ways that we can build it. The cards that we're going to mention, they go in both the strategies.
Yeah, they're just artifact synergistic cards. So first up, we have Ethereum Sculptor. It's a classic artifact card. Artifact creature himself, and he just makes any artifact you cast 1 colorless mana cheaper.
So it gets cheaper, and it buffs your commander.
It's another body to connect with for starter engines to get to max speed as well. So it's just a solid card in artifact decks.
Talking about artifact decks.
I know what you're gonna say.
Artifact lands.
Yeah.
There's quite a bunch. There's one for blue, one for white.
Yeah.
They come in untapped. There's a few that come in tapped. Just think about them. I probably will put all 5 or 6. I don't remember how many there are exact. I would just put them all in there.
Yeah, the fact that you can just play a land drop and it scales your commander up is really good. And you also play other cards that scale with the number of artifacts. So
Big boy blast.
auto includes.
I'm thinking protection for our commander in the form of an artifact. When I was building it, I was thinking about it, and I remembered one that I put in Frodo as well.
Okay.
Scarab Defector Might.
The 1-drop.
The 1-drop.
Oh yeah.
And you have the Phyrexian mana that you can tap him for to protect your commander.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid. I think it's an auto include in this deck for sure.
It gives hexproof. It makes him unblockable. It costs Phyrexian mana, so just lives a resource, right?
For sure.
And it's a 1-drop, so once again, you can start swinging on turn 1 or 2 and increase your speed.
And give a toxic counter.
Yeah. Might be relevant in some games, right? One of my favorite cards of all time is Ginger Brute. It's a 1/1 food golem with haste for 1 mana. So you can drop on turn 1, start swinging, get the speed up, and you can also make your commander unblockable, which is really good for your Voltron strategy, by the way.
I'll include it.
Yeah, it's a solid card. You really should. Next up is a card you actually talked to me about earlier, because you pulled it like 6 times in your Doctor Who collector box.
It's the dog robot, the K9 Mark 1. Why we included it, it's a 1-drop. You can get your max speed up faster, and it can make your, in my case, Voltron commander unblockable.
Yeah, and it also gives Ward 1, which might be relevant in some cases to protect Mendicant. Yeah,
protection.
So, what versions do we have for Mendicant art-wise?
The normal, which every card has.
Yeah.
The full art.
Yeah.
Second one. And then the golden finish line variant as well.
I really like the full art version of Mendicant. I think it will look fantastic with the yellow.
I think I will buy the finish line variant and the full art version.
I see what you like most.
No, I have special cases for my commanders now.
Yeah, to showcase them.
Yeah, one as a showcase and one to play.
Okay, awesome.
So that's it for my favorites. The next one is actually your flavor and favorite from this set.
It's been a while since I got this hyped about a Magic card. I'm not gonna lie. The last time I got this hyped about a card was Necrobloom, and you all know my love for that card. It's actually Kolodin, the Triumph caster. So he's a Boros commander. I think it's the worst color pair there is a Magic Boros.
I agree with you.
Because you don't have access to ramp, you don't have access to removal, to tutors. It just does everything worse than like adding green to your deck.
Both not a fan of Boros. Why this one though?
The pure aggression this card has, the power level of this card is crazy. So let me read the card for you. It's another 2-drop commander. Aetherdrift is really about going fast.
Max speed, bro.
Max speed, bro. He's a 2-drop. 2/3. Mounts and vehicles you control have haste. Whenever a mount you control enters, it becomes settled until end of turn, whatever the settle cost is.
Instantly.
If you have settle 20, it gets settled. Doesn't matter. Best part, whenever a vehicle you control enters, it enters as an artifact creature. And it has haste from its first ability, remember? So you can just play big vehicles, which we have a ton of, you'll see later. And they can just attack instantly. You don't have to crew them, you can just swing, and they all have insane attack trigger abilities.
When you play this commander, you can settle it on the battlefield.
Yeah, exactly. All jokes aside, I think mounts are not really that relevant for Kolodin. I think it will mainly be about vehicles. Yeah. And I've always wanted to build a Boros Argyle deck. I think it's just really solid. And Kolodin is perfect at the helm of it as a 2-drop commander.
He feels really unique and special.
I think Kolodin might actually get a ban in Standard because of his power level. We'll still have to see, but the abilities, they're crazy, man. I'm really underselling it here. So, vehicles for Kolodin.
I was thinking the Aerial Surveyor. Being in Boros, there's not that many ramp that we can integrate, and this one is perfect because it gets haste. You can instantly swing, and you can get a planes.
Yeah, and this card is even being played without Kolodin. It's being played in normal Boros decks because it's that good, but here it comes out with haste, don't have to crew it, and just get a planes, just accelerate your mana in Boros.
Smack smack for a planes.
So you played Baldur's Gate 3, right?
I did, yes.
Nautiloid ship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where you start in the game. So Nautiloid Ship is a 4-drop, 5/5 flyer.
Big body.
Solid. Yeah. Usually you have to crew it to attack, but yeah, since we have Kolodin, it can attack instantly. When it enters, it exiles target player's graveyard. So get some grave hate, decent, not too great.
Grave hate is something to have in a deck.
Exactly. But whenever it swings and it deals combat damage to a player, you can put a card from exile into play under your control. So when you connect, you can just put a really big creature into play, an Eldrazi, I don't know, dinosaur, whatever.
Big vehicle.
A big vehicle, yeah, exactly. So really insane value with Kolodin. I think this will be the strongest card in the deck because it's really hard to deal with since it has haste and it gets screwed by Kolodin.
I think I have an idea.
Yeah, so it's RIMS Titanic, a Doctor Who card. It's a 7/1 flying trample. It's really, really solid in itself. So when it enters, also hasted by Kolodin, it's screwed by Kolodin. It has another ability. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you get that many treasure tokens.
Ramp itself?
Yeah, and as mentioned before, we really need ramp in Boros because we don't have access to it in those colors. You will always get combat damage through with this ship. It's a 7/1 flying trample.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
insane.
Yeah.
Titanic in space.
So we got like a Power Ranger dude.
Yeah, the pointing Power Ranger on a spaceship that's called the RMS Titanic.
Yeah, Magic is getting crazy nowadays.
Yeah, but it works. It's a strong card.
It works.
Auto
yeah.
include. Now we're on the topic of big vehicles. The Peace Walker Colossus.
Yeah.
6/6 itself.
For 3 mana.
True. The thing is, with this card, if you play it and you have it on the battlefield, you can just pay 2 mana, a white and a whatever mana, and you can crew any vehicle and just go and attack with it.
Doesn't
again.
matter what the crew cost is.
No.
The thing is, with Kolodin, we'll be playing a lot of vehicles. They get a lot of value the turn they come down because they have haste, they can swing. But we don't really have sources to crew them afterwards once they're lying around.
Apart from this card.
Yeah, this card will be a value engine. It's a must include in the deck, honestly. So one of the more awesome vehicles that no one plays because the crew cost is too high. But Kolodin bypasses that anyway, so...
And the Colossus we just talked about as well.
Exactly. So it's a 2 mana, 6/3, which will get haste and will get crewed, yada yada yada. When it swings, you get 3 mana, which doesn't empty from your pool, and you get 3 life. Once again, we need mana acceleration and Boros in this deck, and this is just an awesome way. It's made for Kolodin.
So art-wise?
Yeah, we have the normal variant, which is just a cool card. Then we have the full art variant, and I don't know what it is, but it really speaks to me.
It looks like a retired pointing Power Ranger.
Yeah,
He's pointing towards the sky and
like
it's RMS Titanic.
But I don't know, you just see the art and you're in love with the card, right?
Yeah,
It's
like
weird. And we also have the full art finish line variant, which I think will also look fantastic with the yellow or gold, whatever it will be.
Next up is the only 3-drop that we included in our list.
Which is also still really fast.
It is, it really is. So it's Ketramose, the New Dawn. So for 3 mana, you get a god this time.
Okay.
And what a god. So I'll read the card first. Menace lifelink indestructible.
Solid.
Ketramose can't attack or block unless there are 7 or more cards in exile. Whenever 1 or more cards are put into exile from graveyards and or the battlefield during your turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life.
That seems like a solid value engine.
It really is. Why did we pick this commander?
Well, the fact is, first of all, he's overstated. He's a Menace lifelink indestructible 4/4 for 3 mana. The requirement of having 7 cards in exile is really not hard to do.
It really isn't.
It really is. In a 4-player game especially, it will happen automatically. You don't even have to build around it. Yeah, its last ability is absolutely crazy. Whenever you exile 1 or more cards, you get to pay 1 life and draw a card. It's limited by it saying 1 or more, so if you play an exiling board wipe, you don't get 25 cards.
You just stay with 1.
Just 1.
You lose 1 life also. Imagine losing 17 if you play the board.
Exactly. You have so many efficient cards that work around exiling other cards that Ketramose will just be crazy. Synergy with those cards is insane.
And don't forget, exile is one of the strongest ways to remove stuff in the game.
Exactly. And you will innately be doing it in this deck.
You want to do it.
Yeah, you want to do it. He also feels really unique. He feels like some sort of exile tribal commander building a deck around exiling thing.
Yeah.
I think it's the first
Exile,
commander
exile
that...
themed first one, definitely.
And I don't think we have any other cards that work like this in Magic.
Not as a legendary creature.
So, what cards do you think about, Jake?
Line Sash. Long story short, for this card, it's pretty easy. You pay 1 white, you exile a card, you put a +1/+1 counter on your indestructible commander.
And he triggers and he draws you a card.
Yeah.
Broken. One of the classic cards everyone knows. It's been around for ages. It's Relic of Progenitus. Really simple card for Grave Hate. Many decks play it. You can just step it, exile a card from a graveyard, and yeah, Ketramose.
I'm gonna play this and play it against your Necro.
Good idea. I know a really awesome card. Solitude.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Evoke card from, I think, Modern Horizons 2. So it's basically an Evoke creature that also exiles a target creature, so it's a removal spell as well. The Evoke cost is exiling a white card from your hand, which will trigger Ketramose. When it gets evoked, creature enters, you get to exile an opponent's creature, which will also trigger Ketramose. That being said, it has flash you can play during opponent's turns, but Ketramose only triggers during your turn. So not really that valuable, but you can do it if you need it.
You can't win them all.
You can't win them all.
When we're talking about removal, obviously in Exile, you only have the two big ones, but there's more. Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah.
Auto-include in this.
Yeah, they replace themselves with Ketramose on the field. The synergy is crazy.
So when we were brewing, you were talking about a Planeswalker you found that would fit this team as well.
Gaia is one of the only Planeswalkers that can really exile a ton of cards. She's also in Orzhov, and she's a 3-drop, so really efficient. Her +1 just exiles cards from graveyards, which will trigger Ketramose. So basically the +1 also says draw a card. Insane. -1 exiles cards that have mana cost 1 or less. Can be valuable to get some Soul Ring, for example, which will make people cry. You will be happy about having it on the field on turn 1 and then it gets removed.
I'll cry.
Ketramose has a really big body, let's not forget that's indestructible. So you can actually protect Gaia really well and get to the ult. And the ult is a game ender. The player takes damage equal to the amount of cards they own in exile.
Which can be quite a lot.
Yeah, especially with Ketramose at the helm of this deck.
So we talked about arts in the other cards as well. Does this one have special variants?
Yeah, the full art is like a comic card. It's drawn with... It's a special art. I'll just put it up on screen. I really like it.
It looks amazing. I'm a sucker for art as well. I think I say it 4 times at least per video, but this one it's amazing.
Yeah, and also the original art on this one is fantastic. He's like standing on a destroyed statue of Bolas. Fantastic, awesome vibe.
So before we go to the last one, which is our strongest pick for this set,
I think everyone's strongest pick for the set.
I'd like to remind you all that we are doing this set a little bit differently. So if you are interested in seeing different content from us, we are doing more deck tags, as we said earlier. Let us know which ones you want to see, and if we forgot any commanders that you think is stronger than the ones we picked, let us know why. Yeah, maybe we can do a deck tag on those.
Yeah, we still have spots left for a video or two, so we can still make it. So just let us know in the comments below, and we'll check it out.
Or on our Discord server.
Okay, so the last one is actually a precon commander.
Yes and no. It is the backup.
This card, I'm in the CDH community on Reddit and stuff, and the people are going crazy over this. They're playtesting him, they're proxying him. It's a crazy card. It's another 2-drop.
Yep.
Hashaton. Okay, so I'll just read the card before we go into anything else.
Because reading the card
explains the card. Hashaton, Scarab's Fist. He's an Orzhov commander with a blue ability, so he's Esper. He's a 1/3, a 2-drop. Whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 2 generic mana and a blue mana. If you do, create a tap token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. Just reading the card, how do you feel?
At first I thought, discarding. That's pretty unique. I haven't built that before.
Okay.
I kind of want to play it. And then I read it decently, and I thought, this is broken.
We're not just going to make 4/4 zombies, right? So it's not gonna stop there.
It definitely is not.
Let's just explain why it's really good. So whenever you discard a creature card, you get to pay 3 mana, which is not a lot, to create a 4/4 zombie token copy of it. The 4/4 stat line is really nice because it evades bolts and stuff, and you can copy some really nasty creatures. We'll be talking about those later. Hashaton also doesn't exile the original card, so it just goes to your graveyard.
It does. So it means you can actually reanimate it.
Yeah, which is really interesting. So you can make the 4/4 copy, and yeah, the original is still in your grave, so you can still interact with it. And Esper being Esper, it just reanimates it. It's really, that's the thing that makes this commander so good.
It's insane. The value you can get from sacrificing something and just recurring it to your hand it's insane.
People, to go a little bit deeper on the CDH and why it's good there. Cards like, for example, Tassa's Oracle, which you have to cast and will usually win you the game, is the win con in most decks. You can counter it. It can get Force of Will, it can get counterspelled. But with Hashaton, you can discard it, create a copy, and the ETB triggers, and you can win that way.
And it can be countered. Yeah. Because it's an activated ability.
You actually have to play things like Stifle and stuff to counter activated abilities, but who does that, right? So, yeah.
In CEDH they might, but in the normal EDH scene, not a lot.
So it's a crazy value card. Even if you just go for the 4/4 zombies, it's already really good. So how would you build Hashaton?
Pretty straightforward. Reanimation. Discard, reanimate, make copies.
Yeah.
Try and recur them and play them again and again and again. Go infinite.
What I was really thinking about was madness cards.
That too, yeah.
Also really interesting. I have a Madness card coming up soon, so we'll talk about that later. Since Hashaton got spoiled, we saw a lot of cards on Magic Card Market really spike up in price, right? Older cards as well, like for example, Tortured Existence. Yeah, this card and Hashaton, it's crazy together. It's a match made in heaven once again.
Why though?
Yeah, so it's a 1 mana enchantment. For 1 mana, you can discard a creature card and return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand.
And then with Hashaton?
Yeah, you make a copy, and you're even able to return the creature you discarded to your hand again. So you discard, make a copy, and return it to your hand for 4 mana in total.
You had an awesome, when you were explaining this and you did your research, you had an awesome card.
Yeah.
That you thought of that would work in
back
a very
again the
unique
game.
way.
So when it enters, it untaps 5 lands. The cost of this combo with this enchantment is 4 mana, so you will generate infinite mana. So 1 mana, discard Peregrine Drake, 3 mana. On Hashaton, you copy it, it enters, untap 5 land, and just repeat the cycle.
There's a little bit of you have to pick the right colors to untap and
Yeah,
tap, but that's not a big issue.
It'll work. And then you get infinite Peregrine Drake, copies, for tapped zombies, and infinite mana. Yeah, you can usually win from there.
Yep, most likely, when you go infinite.
We also need discard engines for this deck, right?
Yep, we really do, because without discard engines,
no copies.
Yeah, there will never be copies of anything. So I thought about the little 1/2 body, Psychic Frog. It's a discard outlet.
Yeah, and
to start with.
Really good discard outlets.
It really is. It's only a 2-drop as well.
Yeah.
So it comes to the play pretty quickly, pretty easily. You have your discard outlet pretty early in the game.
Yeah, and it's also actually a game finisher if you can discard enough cards. Because
yes.
It grows, has evasion, can swing, gives you card advantages. One of the better discard engines.
We talked about ways to discard, but what do we want to discard? What do we want to bring into play? Because we talked about big bodies, an example of the big bodies.
Yeah, we have a lot of creatures that do a lot of funny things on ETB. Like Azakat. It's a well-known card. It's one of the ultimate game finishers. You get to pay 2 life and search your library for any card and put it in your hand. So a tutor for 2 mana. Yeah, with Hashaton, if you discard it, it's only 3 mana to make a copy of this, and you can just keep repeating it to get your combo and win the game.
Might only be a 4/4, but that's not the whole point of it.
Yeah, it's the ability. Another awesome discard engine is Ghostly Pilferer.
That's just not only a discard engine,
No,
it's a pretty strong card itself.
You mentioned Psychic Frog, but this card, in my opinion, is the better discard engine. They're both really good, but this one takes the cake.
Fair enough, but why?
It just says discard a card, it gets unblockable, so you can discard infinite cards to it whenever you need for Hashaton, and it just generates a ton of value. Just read the card. The block of text, everything on there is good, so.
It's strong. I know that you really love the next, how do you say it, style of cards, just the name. Yeah. I don't want to spoil it before we actually say it, but your nostalgic play, because you played a lot longer than I have, brings out that you really picked this card.
Yeah. So I put it on the list because it's a Madness card, which is a mechanic. It's really good with Hashaton, and it's a Goyf. I love Goyfs, man. Tarmogoyf, Necrogoyf, whatever. So it's a Necrogoyf. He has awesome abilities, is an awesome body, but why he's on the list is because of his Madness cost, and I just want to explain how it works with Hashaton. If you discard Necrogoyf, you can pay 3 with Hashaton to make a 4/4 copy of it, which will also get all the Goyf's abilities. When you discard it, you can also pay his Madness cost, and the original will come into play as well.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, instead of paying 5 mana for 1 original Goyf, you get a copy of the Goyf and the original for just 6 mana, which is a really solid deal. And you have a lot more of these awesome Madness cards that scale really well with Hashaton.
To basically always get 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, exactly.
So we talked about art.
Hashaton only has 1 variant from the precons. That's it. It's full art. It's beautiful. He has the big gold.
It really is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's the Egyptian theme again, the old gods a little bit.
Exactly.
I really loved it.
How would you rate Aetherdrift out of 10? Like the flavor, the mechanics, the card, just in general.
It's hard to say, but the feeling that I'm getting, I think it's for me at a 7. Because the cards that we picked that we talked about, I think they're really strong and they're really special.
Okay.
The ability, the start your engines ability, I think that's pretty unique as well. It promotes fast combat, fast turns. You want to go in and swing there. But the only thing that I dislike is something that the community has been screaming about a little bit in the last few years, is that it's not really, in my opinion, a magic plane.
I understand what you mean.
That thing.
It's not like Innistrad or Tarkir or Taros, something like those mythical, epic landscapes. Yeah, it's just like a wacky race.
Yeah.
I'd really give this set an 11. I don't know why. It's really powerful. It's a really powerful cards in it. It will change standard for sure, I think. And the commanders in the set, man. We just made a top 5 list and the highest cost is a 3-drop.
Yeah.
What?
We could have included if we could have made a top 10 and they would all still be strong.
For sure. And I love the wacky racers variants on the cards, like the alternate arts. I really love them. It's beautiful. Most people hate them, but I love them.
That was it for our top 5 of the Aetherdrift new upcoming set, which is coming out. I think when this video is live, it's going to be around pre-release.
Yeah, it's going to be live on pre-release, and we're going to be opening some boxes on our Instagram account. So make sure to check that out somewhere in the description below.
For daily content.
Yeah.
1 pack each day.
Yeah, and 2 in the weekends.
If you like the content, remember to like and subscribe. We have a Discord, we have an Instagram that you can reach out to us if you don't feel comfortable leaving comments and you want to ask us something. We're always in for a chat.
Yeah.
So that being said, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Awesome video. Bye.